They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned. Straight up. Look, I came into this world in 1978. The doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane though, far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I done mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in '01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth, I'm OG King CURT. Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend, let's work.
Hey, this is OG King CURT, and welcome to the OG2CENTS podcast. I'm going to truly appreciate everyone who tunes in every Sunday. We've been on a 2-week hiatus, vacation, mental health break, just to revamping and getting ready for season 2. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a like, comment. Follow us on all our available streaming platforms. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Helps us out a lot. Let's continue to speak out against any forms of injustice and racism. Let's just keep fighting the good fight. This episode 31, Chopping It Up with Choc, is presented to you by Zenni. Make sure to armor your eyes with Zenni blocks. Virtual clear blue blockers. It's important to protect your eyes from the harmful blue light from the digital screens, so you'll have less eye strain, and that makes for better sleep and performance. Check them out at zenni.com/gaming or follow them at Zenni Gaming on Twitter and Instagram. As I said, this is episode 31, Chopping It Up with Choc. I had the luxury of managing, coaching, however you want to put it. I've known him for a long time. He came in and had a phenomenal season with Nets GC. He's a professional 2K player for Nets gaming crew, streamer and YouTuber. He has 221,000 subscribers on YouTube, 26K followers on Twitch, almost 41K on Twitter, a little over 9,000 on Instagram. He is the leader of Always Excelling Park Clan. And he led the NBA 2K League in assists and was top 10 in scoring, player of the week, player of the month. And I say all that, and he didn't make the all-rookie team, and he wasn't even a candidate. But that's my own personal feelings. He's my guy. So with further ado, we have Choc. How you doing today?
Well, good. First of all, I appreciate you having me for the first episode of season 2. I did get one going in season 1, but that's okay. I'm down to start season 2 off the right way. And again, I like hearing all the accolades, man. You could have kept going for hours. I like that. So.
Hey, well, I was about to say, and I'm bringing you another banger video.
We like that. Come on, man.
I love it, man. Love it, man. Just getting right into it. I mean, a lot of people have heard your story. Some people haven't. But just, tell us your story and how you got to where you are today.
I keep it brief for the people out there who have, heard it once and heard it a million times. Basically, long story short, I always loved 2K. That was my game. I grew up playing games. I wasn't really a gamer per se, but I did love playing video games. It kept me out of trouble. I wasn't much of a partier. I was a guy that was focused on making it to the highest level I could in basketball. So I would train and do all that. And then at night, I'm not going out. I came home and I played the game. Basically, I just, would always play 2K for fun. It was always my favorite game. And as I got older, I got really good at it. So when I went to college for the first time, I didn't have anything to do. I was in Oklahoma. I was bored. I didn't have a car. We were in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing going on out there. So when we'd be done with practice, when I'd be done with my schoolwork, I would get on the game, and I decided to turn on a stream for the first time. I was never able to stream at home because we never had good enough internet. So I could barely play as is, let alone fire up a stream. So started streaming and started picking up traction, man. I started getting my name out there in the community. And, long story short, it took a lot longer than it should have. But over time, I found my way into the 2K League. And I feel like everybody, who watches the league or follows the league knew that at some point in time I was going to get in there. So.
Good, man. I mean, just I mentioned a lot of accolades and different things like that or your rookie season. Walk us through life as a rookie in your first season at the 2K League.
So I would say our experience as rookies is probably a lot different than season 1 and 2. Being that 7 to 8 days in, you get hit with COVID-19 and it kind of changes up your season. So for me, it was good. It was something where I didn't mind remote play. Remote play is kind of like playing at home, except you're in the room with the people that you're playing with. So it was a good experience, man. It's a lot of ups and downs, but there's a lot of things that people who don't play in the league will never understand. I mean, it's only something that you could understand by experiencing it. Like I could tell you all about it and break down some of the hardships and the mentally draining aspects, but it's like until you get up in it, you'll never really know. But I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot this season, and I think a lot of the knowledge that I learned from this year is going to help propel us forward in season 4.
Cool. I mean, what are some pros and cons, like just to give just some tidbits on people who are not in the league and don't have any experience and know what you're talking about, like just pros and cons?
I would say some of the pros of the league are number one, you're getting paid to play a video game. Obviously, anytime you can say that you're paid to play a game that people love playing for free, it's always a blessing in itself. And I'd also say being associated with an NBA franchise is a huge pro. Before, Corona, we were allowed to be in the gym. I mean, we are a Brooklyn Net. I got my employee ID. I'm allowed up in the facility. It's like you really are a member of the Nets. And there's not a lot of people that can say, hey, man, I play a game professionally for the Brooklyn Nets. I would say a con of the league that people will never understand is the mentally draining aspect of it, man. Winning is awesome. And when you're winning, it's like, there's no better feeling than when you're winning in the league. But, man, when you lose in the league or you fall into a losing spree, it's like it's not like when you're at home and you can turn off the game and get back to your normal life. Like, that is your life. You know what I'm saying? You end the game, you guys lose, and you're heading home with those dudes. So it's like there is no escaping, underlying problems that are happening with your team. If I don't like somebody on my pro-am team, I cut the console off, I go home, talk to my family, everything, you keep it pushing. If I don't like somebody that's my teammate, there is no free agency. There wasn't a trade window this year. You are locked in with these guys for X amount of time. And it really is something where you got to learn to adapt fast because otherwise you're in for a long season.
No, I agree. And I will say that. I mean, I know for me, as a general manager and coach, but when we winning and I can't sleep, I'm up, I'm hyped, everything. Then when we losing, it's kind of, I'm still up, but it's a horrible feeling. Like, I mean, especially for us. I mean, we competed the majority of the season. I mean, we were in every game, every series for the most part. So it made the losses even more tough as usual.
And for us as well, being that, we never could just finish series out. We were going 3 games a series. It's like, it's not like how normally in the league, you're matching up, you're playing 1 game and that's it. Playing a best of 3 series over and over and over again, man, it's like you're giving it everything you have for 3 games. And then it's cool when you win, you know what I'm saying? It feels good when you win, but when you come up short, man, it's like it sucks the life out of you, man. And then you're waking up the next day, you're right back to practice doing the same thing. And for people out there that don't know, the practice mode is the exact same thing. You're scrimmaging real teams. So it's not like we're going to get a break from playing people, man. The next day, you're right back up and playing people all over again. So it's a lot of – you really got to be on your P's and Q's every time you load up. So I would say that's something that people just, will never understand until they experience it.
Right. How did you feel? Thoughts on New York? Was that your first time other than the draft being in New York?
So my grandfather always used to tell me he was going to take us to New York. Every single year he would be like, yeah, we're going to go to New York this year. Me and my 2 cousins, every single year. He never took us. So I always wanted to go to New York, and being in it was good. It's unfortunate that I didn't get the New York experience because of Corona or whatever. But I'm hoping that, for season 4 that things can open up and go back to normal so I can get the city life aspect and all that stuff. I mean, it's a very busy, very popular city. Only negative I have to say about New York is the prices, man. The prices are ridiculous. I'm saying I got the same the Chick-fil-A, you know me, I'm a Chick-fil-A guy. So the Chick-fil-A order that I would get a medium sweet tea, and it would be $12. I'm getting the same meal in a large here in Florida. It's $9. So it's like, that adds up over time. That's my only negative slight on New York is that, man, the dollar value is up over there, man. So.
Yeah, and like that's how I feel now. I've been to the grocery store I think 2 or 3 times since I've been back in Ohio, and I'm walking out 50, $60. I got bags.
That's what I'm saying. You're feeling good. You're feeling like you walked away with a lot. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, I used to go to the grocery store in New York. Shoot, $50. I got 1 bag, maybe
That's
2,
what I'm saying.
maybe 2. Man.
You got a bag of chips, a cup of water, some milk, and you're at $50 already, man. It's like, goodness gracious, like how?
Right. And Choc, you get a lot of criticism. I mean, you do a lot of things. The one thing about it, I mean, I go to bat for you a lot. A lot of people don't know you the way I do. It's probably obviously some people who probably know you a little better than I do. But at the same time, I mean, I get a good idea of where you're coming from a lot of times, and you're open and honest about your mistakes and growth and different things like that. But what is the biggest misconception about Choc?
I mean, it's like where do I start? You know what I mean? Like I feel like just overall in general, it's a lot of misconceptions on things. I feel like it's just I was talking to Nadal about this, my mom, that man, for people that don't know, and what we were talking about is stigmas, and it's like once you get a stigma, it doesn't have to be true, but it's like they're gonna ride that stigma, forever. So I would get the stigma. That I was a spaz or I was a rager. And it's like, even when you're not raging, in the back of their mind, you're still raging. So, for me, I feel like, people have just gathered these stigmas and they're not looking at it from a place of caring and a place of love and a place of wanting to do better things. They're looking at it from a place of hate and negativity and all that. And it's never like that. You know what I'm saying? I like one thing I talked to you about a lot was, when I would criticize people on 2K, it was never beyond 2K. I'm never talking about, what people are doing in their past life or what they're doing on the side or how they're not focused outside. Anything that I'm getting mad at or yelling at, man, it's all game related. And I feel like, that's not valued and respected because they just look at it like, oh, this guy, he doesn't know how to stop. But I feel like, anybody who's ever, talked to me or spoken to me or, taking the opportunity to come in something with a fresh mindset and not looking at it the way somebody else, not looking at the picture that somebody else has painted for them. I feel like they have good things to say about me because that's what a lot of people do now too is, they see somebody they like on Twitter says something negative, boom, their whole perception is changing. A lot of people don't think for themselves anymore. So the people that do and they come to me with an open mind usually don't have anything negative to say. I think that's the biggest thing.
Gotcha, I get it. I mean, and the thing about it, I think it's been a big misconception since the 2K League started. I mean, everybody feels and thinks their own separate way about what's good, what's bad, what's toxic, what's not toxic. Even for me, I look at it to a point. I mean, I think just because I'm an old head and I'm used to taking shots here and there, I just ignore them. But you guys are professionals. You get a nice amount of criticism, and people look at you like when you decide to respond, how you respond. Now they want to judge how you respond, but they're not even paying attention to what they're saying to get you to respond to different things of that nature. Of course, you learn the ups and downs and what to do and what not to do in a lot of different situations. But at the same time, people need to realize we all human beings. We all have feelings.
And they want you to be a robot. That's what they want you to be. They want to be able to, jab at you. And then, they want you to just take it. They feel like you're in a place of high position. So you're supposed to, you're supposed to be able to sit back and take it. But I think, like you said, like, man, it's still a human being. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you have a decent amount of followers or you have a good following or, you do a podcast, I do a YouTube video. That doesn't mean that at the end of the day, man, we're still normal people just like everybody else. So I feel like people, kind of overlook that and they expect it. Like I said, they expect you to be robots. And it's very hard sometimes. You can take a lot, but sometimes, man, it's like you just want to, you got some choice words. So it's like, it's tough, man. It's a tough one.
Yeah, we seen that. We ain't gonna dive all the way into it, but I mean, the thing about it, I will say this. I mean, had a moment. Basically, I'm gonna say it in so many words. Because Choc is my guy, and I'm gonna defend him at all times. And what I feel like needs to be corrected or talked about, we do it behind closed doors, and that's that. But had a situation where somebody, called him out on Twitter. He said some choice words back, probably not appropriate for most. And but my thing of it is, it's like when you decide to say something to somebody or attack somebody, you can't control their response.
No.
You didn't control yours, so you can't control theirs. And a lot of people don't really get that. I mean, for me, I've always been cautious of what I say and what I do since I became a figure in the community. But that's me though. It doesn't have to.
Right.
I don't expect everybody to be like me. And sometimes I feel like that's one of the biggest problems is that everybody looks at people like they should think like them and act like them and talk like them, and it's just all wrong. I mean, get like right now we're in the off season. Before we talk about that, I want as far as your content creation and different things like that, a lot of people know, some may not know, he was the first legend in 2K20. But stemming before that, what was your mindset going into it? And then how are you planning to play off of that as far as, creating YouTube videos and different things like that? Because going for top rep is one thing, but then taking it the next step and being able to create content after content after content and still remain relevant after doing that. What was that thought process like going into it?
So for me, it was one of those things where when I dropped out of school, because I got into a point, man, where I was just tired of basketball. I was tired of basketball. It was ups and downs, injuries. It's like, man, I'm sick of this. I'm beyond sick of it. So I knew that in basketball, you have a gap year. So it's like I had a year where I could test the waters. I'd always wanted to dabble in YouTube. I'd always wanted to try it, especially when, I had gotten partnered on Twitch, with no face cam, no Elgato. I was streaming off my Xbox and got partnered on Twitch, which a lot of people, that's unheard of now. Back in the day, yeah, but now it's like you got to have the fanciest setup, so to get partners, like I knew, I had potential in that aspect. So when I dropped out, man, my dad was not having that. You know what I'm saying? They gave me a 1 year time frame, and it was like, look, man, you make this thing work or you go get a job. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not somebody that's going to be a free loafer and sit around and live off of my parents or anything like that. So it was one of those things where, I knew I was going to finish high in the rep race, and I wanted to get into the park community, but I didn't know I was going to finish first. Once I got into it and I started getting competitive with it, I knew I was going to win, because once I'm like locked in on something, like I'm going to get it. And with that type of thing, it was, man, dudes would have 4 people on one account. Some dude had like 8 people on their account. These dudes sharing accounts. Me, it's all by myself, sitting up here, drinking water, trying to do content as much as I could. And I just knew I was going to win. And I knew that if I won, it would give me a little bit of recognition. Now, I didn't know how well it would translate or how long it would stay around, because if you look at years past, most of those guys who, hit first 99 or hit legend first, they don't keep that relevance. But for me, I've done my best to find ways to stay afloat. And so far, it's worked out, but I never knew for 100% that it would get to this level. Me and my mom talk about all the time. The goal for me in my first year was to hit 25K, not 200K. The goal was 25K. So it's like when you look at it like that, it's crazy to think how far it's really gone in 1 year, because it takes people years to get this far, if ever. You know what I'm saying? If they ever even get this far. So I think that's a big thing, is just, is really appreciating, how much has been accomplished in that short amount of time and how much there is still to be accomplished.
Wow, that's good. I mean, and like you say, you set the bar minimum, and then here we are 200 plus later. It's phenomenal. I mean, and it's good content. I mean, I joke with you a lot and everything like that. But I love it though. I mean, it's I've enjoyed watching you grind. I mean, a lot of people, that like they say, they don't stay consistent. They don't stay with it. It's easy to get content, and you've never done that. So I want you to keep pushing. I mean, right now,
And it's
Okay.
and real quick, not to cut you off, but just to add to what you're saying, because a lot of people lose the consistency because of the pressure that they face in the Twitter world. And I think that's what you and me, you can see it with me is how these dudes, come for me. And a lot of people are not cut from a cloth that they're going to be able to sit back and endure that. I think that's what a lot of people are missing too, is that, man, like, yeah, man, being the first legend is cool. You're going to get so much clout, but it's like, man, you get put under a spotlight and you get given an amount of pressure that a lot of people cannot handle. So I think I just wanted to add that in there, because it's like a lot of people don't understand. It's like, it's not that these dudes are intentionally falling off, but it's like, man, dude, you take a lot. And luckily for me, I have good parents who keep me level headed, because, it's times where it's like, man, what is the point of all this? It's like, nobody wants to sit and be underneath all that scrutiny. So it's like, I think that's a big reason why you see a lot of these people who were prevalent and, their name was out there, you see them disappear because they can't handle it.
No, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And Choc, Mama Choc became one of the fan favorites in the community. I mean, awesome woman. I've had the honor of talking to her here and there. I mean, obviously, I look at myself as an extension for all players that
Right.
I draft and bring in and stuff like that. I mean, because it's a different situation, especially everything that we went through this year. I mean, I know as myself being a parent, it would have been a trying time. So
Right.
having the relationship where you can communicate and talk and trust at the end of the day is important. Thoughts on 2K21? Now, I seen the tweets. I mean, most of them, I mean, the majority of them I agree with. I mean, but your thoughts?
Man, it has a lot of potential. And I think potential is big because, it can go one way or it can go another. I think a big thing with 2K is very hard in a basketball game to please casual players and please competitive players. And I think what the biggest problem is this year is that they're struggling to find that balance, because originally you saw how it was the first couple of days, man. People couldn't shoot, and I kind of like that, because the elite players are going to adapt and find a way to shoot. Now, granted, it had been 2 days in, and it's like dudes are already quitting and complaining, and it's like, man, can we take a week? Can we take 2 weeks to figure something out before we just write something off? And it's like, the problem is now that there's been all this pressure, and 2K started to slowly but surely make it easier and easier and easier. And it's like, it's getting to a point, man, I'll lose to Fluffy Panda 27 in the park because there's no skill gap, man. And that's a big thing for me is, I like playing a game where, man, if I'm better than you, I should beat you. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be you can win the game because 2K's algorithm and they're allowing, it's an RNG type thing where, his whites might go in, mine might not. Like, no, man, if I'm 10 times better than you, I should beat you every single time. Like, unless I play bad. So, for me, I'm just hoping that, again, it's still super early, but I'm hoping that they find that balance. And they might not find it for current gen, but November when next gen comes out, man, I'm just hoping it's a good balance of casual and competitive. That way I can get back to busting ass and having fun, man.
Right.
You feel me?
I agree with you. I mean, it was funny to me because, I mean, I've always kind of been that voice. And like I said, that was one of the main reasons why we even started the NPBA is to have some sort of standard so people can not just say what they are, but show what they are. And I think really what it boils down to is we've become an entitled community as a whole. It's everybody thinks they're good. Everybody thinks they're great. And nobody is hard. It's very. I probably say 2% is probably realistic.
That's generous.
Yeah. So in that case, it's like, man, most of y'all didn't even have shooting badges. And y'all complaining about shooting. Like now, I've noticed
in a 53 ball. And they're running pure blues in the corner and mad that they can't light it up. It's like, bro, what do you expect?
Yeah. So it's like, and that's when it's a fine line between being a competitor, because if you're a competitor, when something is roadblocking you, you're not ready to quit. You're ready to fight it head on. And trust me, everybody, me and Choc have had our talks and battles about mindsets and mentalities and getting over things and stuff like that. And see, the thing about that is people need to realize, like, there's not any perfect player that's going to play the game, and that's from a mental aspect, from a talent standpoint, or anything like that. Everybody's going to have their moments, and that's something that really needs to be understood and really, I guess, viewed differently. I mean, it's frustrating. I think in a lot of it, when you mentioned earlier, talking about the mental, the draining, the mental aspect of playing 2K at a high level, it is draining. I mean, it's draining for me, and I don't play during the season. I play in the off season.
Right.
Watching you guys, I mean, I had to. I said a joke to somebody the other night because I got my pro-am team, and we're playing, and we lost the game in a wreck or whatever, and nobody really got like off the hook or anything like that. But I told him, I said, hey man, I've watched my team lose games that's worth hundreds of thousands. I said,
Right.
I'm not about to sit here and blow a gasket over a wreck game.
Over
And,
nothing, right?
yeah, so it's a whole different level. I mean, it's the off season. I mean, actually, we don't really get an off season, but you're back in Florida. How's everything been going with you and the family? Like what's life been like in the off season when you're not playing the game and you're not creating videos?
Well, it's weird this year because like right now I'm not doing the legend thing. So it's like last year I left a lot of people don't know this. I left my house twice last year in that 2-month span. I left my house to go to the gym the first week for 30 minutes. And then my controller broke and I went to Walmart and bought a new controller. Walmart's literally right down the street. I could walk to it. I went to Walmart, bought a controller. It probably took me 15 minutes. So I was probably out of the house 45 minutes in 2.5, 3 months. So right now, man, it's nice, man. I'm not, going for a legend. Like I'm not sitting around playing the game 25 hours a day trying to, throw lobs over and over and over again. It's good. And for me, I think this year is a focus on the content because I definitely neglected content during the legend race, and rightfully so, because after you're playing 20 hours a day, you're not going to be in the right state of mind to fire up a stream, talk. It's like you lose a lot of energy in that. So, and you can go back to my videos during the rep race. It's like I'm whispering. I'm recording at 6:37 in the morning, like everybody's asleep, trying not to wake everybody up. So, for me, it's definitely refreshing to be able to, focus on that side of stuff and then still be able to I'm working out every day, trying to do more things to better myself. You know what I'm saying? I deleted my Twitter today. I'm trying to, focus on, the mental health aspects of things and being more positive. I've been meditating. Like I'm trying to do things that, will better me. And I think it's nice to not have to feel like I got to clock in 20 hours a day to a game system. So I think that's been a good part of it. And obviously, I'm still playing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been uploading more than ever, and I'm still playing. But it's nice to not feel required. Like if I don't want to touch the game for the day, I don't have to touch the game. And I think that's super refreshing.
That's good to hear. I mean, especially as your coach. I mean, I want you
Yeah.
to be getting your mind right
Yeah.
and getting ready for the following season. Thoughts going into season 4.
Man, it could go a lot of ways. For me, one thing I want to focus on is no matter who's here and who we pick, I learned from picks last year. I learned what it really takes to win. And it's not always about having the best player. I think the biggest misconception is that the best team is going to win. Man, the best team has never won in the league. It's never won. I'm sorry, the Wizards were not the best team. Timberwolves were not the best team. Knicks were not the best team. But at the end of the day, those teams bought into something and they believed in something. So, for me, I want to bring people in who are willing to listen and willing to learn and willing to get better. And I think this year our downfall was not a talent thing. We had enough, but what we didn't have was up here. And I think it doesn't matter how good you are. If you guys can't find it up there, if you can't take accountability, if you can't, respect when somebody's telling you something, if you can't acknowledge the flaws that you have, and you're only going to go so far. So for me, I want to get, for lack of a better way to put it, I want to get some nerds who want to play the game, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I hated last year with how some of the people were not wanting to practice and not wanting to get better, man. I hate the sense of, entitlement. I want to get some nerds in here who want to listen, who want to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get these guys who want it, man. I'm a nerd, man. I play the game. I stay indoors and I play the game. I want to get people like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to be cool. You don't got to be, the funniest dude, man. I don't care. We don't even got to be friends. But if you want to come in and you want to make money, you want to win, and you want to make a name for yourself, that's the type of person I want to have. So that's just my thoughts on it. It's like, after playing in a system where, we were real divided. I think anybody who played on the team can tell you that we were a very divided team, and that's why we finished the way we finished, because at 7-4 with the remaining schedule that we had, man, we should have been we're going 8-8, and luckily getting in due to some crazy circumstances, but it's like, it shouldn't have had to be like that. And I can acknowledge some mistakes that I made and some picks and things like that. So for me, I just want to make sure that we're getting the people out there who want to come in and play the game and are willing to leave their pride and ego at the door and get better, man. Because like I tell people all the time, this is a performance-based job. So if you're not winning in this league, you're not making money. And nobody wants to spend 6 months of their life and not making money. You know what I'm saying? You want to walk away raking in as much as you can. So that's my mindset going into it.
Yeah, and the compound on that is that I learned a lot. I'm not perfect. I think
No, for sure.
I work.
And me neither. Let me let that be known. I'm not claiming that I did everything right. So I don't want that to be mistaken either. I'm just saying.
Right, and like for me, you know, a lot of people are aspiring to do what we do. I mean,
right.
And I get that. And at the same time, I always say, from everybody's undefeated from the nosebleeds. Like when you're in the stands, you're always right. Yeah. So in my case, you live, you learn, you make decisions. In each year you see things a whole lot different and more clear going forward. And I think that's where I'm at. I mean, not to, we talked about a lot of things, but just building on it. I mean, we made it to the first time making it to the playoffs. It was great. We had a lot of highs, some lows here and there, but overall, I still think we made the best out of it. But I examined all things. I probably criticized myself, worse than anybody ever could. So that's why a lot of things really don't bother me when you talk about being cut from a different cloth. But I think going forward, I mean, I'm with you. And just for everybody to understand, like when Choc says nerds, he's not blasting anybody.
Oh, no. It's a good thing. And
I learned some things about Choc that I would have never thought if we hadn't been together. I mean, because really, literally, Choc. I mean, a lot of people, out there have wild misconceptions about you or whatever, or sometimes, certain people don't work together. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Not that somebody's right or somebody's wrong or anything like that. It's just the makeup of certain people just don't work at times. But Choc literally is a competitor. All he want to do is win and play the game. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, and I think from my end, I can't ask pretty much more than that from any players to come in and want to do your job at the highest level and win. Like, I mean, and I think that's the mindset everybody should have going into it. I mean, so I'm right there with you, going into season 4. Obviously, it's pretty quiet now during the trade window and different things like that, but we'll see how everything is going forward. At this point of the show, something I added to it is OG wants to know. And it's just rapid fire questions, maybe some things about, that you share with us that people know and may not know. But
let's roll with it.
Number one, what biggest influence?
Probably my mom and dad.
Okay. What motivates you?
I think I just want to be good at everything. So I think, to be honest, it's not that anything specific is motivating. It's the idea that if I'm doing something, like I want to be known for being good at it. So I think just not wanting to, I just want to be good. I think that's the biggest thing. Like a lot of people, they want like to be rich, or, they want to be surface, man. I just want to be known for being one of the best at whatever I'm doing. So.
Gotcha. Favorite video game of all time?
2K11 for sure.
Okay. Favorite
I'd
sports?
have Justin Bieber, my player. 2K11.
Favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team? I mean, I'm a Florida person, man. For basketball, it's the Magic. For football, it's the Bucks. It's Brady season, baby. Bring it on.
Favorite athlete?
Favorite athlete, probably Steph Curry.
Okay.
Or Kevin Durant. I've always been a big Steph Curry and Kevin Durant guy. So I became a Warriors fan when they teamed up. So
trust me, he stands up for Steph Curry every time.
You know me.
Favorite actor or actress?
Actor, probably Will Smith. Actress, I don't know if I have a favorite actress, man. I don't know if I have a favorite actress. I might have to pass on that.
Celebrity crush?
Oh, man. Anybody that knows me knows it's Kylie Jenner for sure.
Gotcha. Favorite movie of all time?
I Am Legend.
Okay. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Man. I don't know, man. I think it could go a lot of different ways. And I think one of the good things that I'm finally doing that I never used to do is I'm kind of living in the moment on things. Man, I used to always look so far ahead, and I could never just be settled and satisfied with where I was. And I think something that, as of recent, I've been getting a lot better at is being, content in the moment. So, I mean, 10 years, man, who knows? So much. If you had asked me this 10 years ago, I would have never said, yeah, I'm playing video games for a living. Like, I mean, that was never the goal. So, who knows what it holds? I think it'll be good though, no matter what it is, whether it's video games or I'm doing something else. I think it's going to be something productive and good.
Believe it. What advice would you give to people inspiring to become a content creator?
I just say, you just gotta be yourself, man. I feel like a lot of people try so hard to be somebody else, and I think for me, I never really cared to be another person. And again, I don't think that there's anything wrong with taking things that you like about your favorite content creators and implementing it in what you do. But I think what a lot of people try to do is they try to be a copy and paste version of somebody else. And it's like, it's not even just for content creators. You look at, artists that are trying to come up, I know you're on Twitter, I know you've seen big threads where these dudes are promoting their music. And it's like, when you hear it, it sounds like something, that you would have in your playlist. But the problem is, you're going to keep listening to the dude that's already in your playlist. You're not going to add this dude to your playlist. I feel like people don't ever want to break boundaries and step out and do new things. They just want to try to follow a blueprint of something that's already worked. It's like, you got to find your own lane. I think that's the biggest thing. I try to tell people, like, find your own lane. Don't try to copy what you see working for somebody else. Be you, and you're going to end up creating a lane that somebody else inevitably tries to follow. So I think that's my biggest thing.
Gotcha. As this episode comes to a close, let people know how they can follow you on social media and what you do.
You can follow me on social media on Instagram at J35H, so J35H. On Twitter, it's literally CHOC Choc. So I got the 4-letter on both social medias. It's pretty elite, man. Not a lot of people out there with the 4-letter ats. But and then just, I guess, closing remarks is just being like, kind of like you said, like the nerd thing. Like, I don't say nerd is a negative thing, man. Like, if you look at me, man, you take away how I look, you take away how I dress, and you just give the characteristics and traits of me as a person, man. If you were to describe me, that guy's a nerd. But it's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be, a bad thing. It's about kind of how you perceive, and that's kind of anything in life. Everything is perception and how you view it and take it, man. People can call me a tweak all they want. I'll wear that on my sleeve, and I just, I want to win. So it's like, whatever you're giving, man, as long as you're taking it and making it yours, it's gonna end up being something good. But I mean, I'm here, man. I appreciate you for having me on, obviously. Again, 30 something episodes late, but it's all good, better late than never. Like I said, at least I'm the first of season 2. I take that with some pride, but I appreciate it for sure, man.
Nah, no doubt. I had to see that, the first 30 episodes, I had to let you remain focused on the task at hand. But I appreciate you, Choc, and you know how I feel about you. That we rocking to the end, and just keep continuing the rest, and we're gonna look forward to season 4 and seeing what we can do together. So
and maybe if you're out there listening, if you're listening, and this is what we've been dropping gems, Kurt. If you want to be a net, the blueprint was just given to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people aren't listening. If they were listening, they might have had themselves 40 grand in 6 months. You know what I mean? So that's something that people got to focus on too. And there's a lot of information that's being given to you. You just got to take the time to listen and receive it. So.
No, that's fact. And I just want to thank everybody who tuned in to this episode, whether you watched or listening. Make sure you follow the OG2CENTS podcast on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Podbean, and iHeartRadio is new. And then make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Follow me on social media at OG King CURT. That's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, you can follow the podcast on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the OG2CENTS podcast. Go to www.ogkingcurt.com for everything OG King CURT and the OG2CENTS podcast. Catch me on EsportsXTRA. Now, new days and times, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 7 to normally 8:30. And that's Compete Forever. That's on Twitch and YouTube. That's with host Larry Ridley, the crew, Renee Montgomery, Durham Worrell, Antonio Williams, newly now Kelly Wells Brinkley. And it's a great show. We put in the sports and esports, so make sure you check us out. Also, shout out to my team, Strider Visuals, Dave at the 2K Zone, Cy Evermore, and Box Graphics. Make sure you tune in to next week's episode. And remember, if it makes sense, it's an OG2CENTS. OG out.
Put this work in, fellas. And much, much, much love to the entire 2K community for always showing me love. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. Yeah.